BlogTalk Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. Today, I have to say, this is a truly blessed day. Today, I am accompanied here in the ashram by Her Holiness Rosemary Goliath and Her Holiness Josephine Smith. Thank you both ladies for coming over to serve as my two-person audience for doing this. And I'd like to welcome you both. And I'd like to say thank you for gracing this place with your presence. So it's good to have you here. I'd also like to thank everybody who is in the chat room, whom I cannot see because for some reason BlogTalk has decided that I am not supposed to see you, but I have faith that you are there. And I want to say welcome to you as well, and welcome to everybody who is listening on a mobile telephone like a smartphone or another kind of phone or a tablet or a laptop, anywhere and everywhere that you may be listening to this broadcast live on the West Coast, 3 o'clock p.m., conversations with the Kundalini Awakened. Okay, so let us begin. Oh, I'd also like to say hello to Eileen, who is listening online right there. I can see that she is listening online. Today is a really nice day because we weren't sure that we were going to be able to put this show on today. Today was just, there's a big question mark here. And I'd like to welcome the person who answered that question mark. She is Her Holiness, the Queen of Questionable Comforts herself, Santara Kundalini. Hello, Santara.
Hi, Chrism. Hi, Josephine. Hi, Rosemary. Hi, Eileen. They're on the line, and hi, everyone in the chat room. I can see the chat room, Chrism, and yes. Here. So we have some guests. Yeah, BlogTalk had me going there for quite a while recently, but yes, we're up and running again.
Well, okay. So I would like to make a few announcements. Today's program is going to be all about what it is to be a student, a private student of Chrism's, the harrowing nightmare of decision-making, the quality of the calling from the Kundalini itself, advising a person to do this or telling them to run like the house is on fire. So this is what this show is going to be about. But before we get started on that, I believe Santara and possibly other people may have some announcements.
I have, Chrism.
This program is brought to you by Santara Kundalini. And insert commercial here.
Okay, I'm definitely going to get myself some sound effects. I really am for next week. Okay, I'll begin with letting everybody know the usual address that you can go to if you want to make a donation to support this work that Chrism does, the Kundalini Awakening Systems, which Chrism will give you the places you can go to later. For now, if you go to www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, you will see a donate button on the upper right-hand corner, and it's very easy to donate after that. We always say every week there is no pressure on anybody to donate. It's not expected. Yet, people, if you do want to donate and if you are in a position that you can donate, all donations are gratefully received because it helps for this work to continue in all the various venues that Chrism does this. And he works 24/7, supporting people in their process, supporting people that are going through a Kundalini syndrome, supporting people that are going through Kundalini activation, Kundalini awakening. And it's a great pleasure, actually, to be able to offer this venue here to make is available to people, because it's just another way where Chrism's teachings can reach you. And so again, if you want to go to that place, it is www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, and there you will see the donate button. That is Chrism, but I can see that there's somebody on the line there called Elizabeth who might be able to now give us information about the seminar. Will I put her through?
Please do.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
You're
Hi,
through. You're on air.
I'm sorry, what?
You are on
I'm
the
hearing
air.
a big echo.
The air is upon you.
Ah. I can barely hear. For some reason on the phone it echoes back. Ah.
Yeah.
Well, shall I?
Elizabeth, just ignore that because you're coming through clear. It's hard for you, but just talk away.
All right. Calling in to announce the Kundalini at the Castle with Chrism seminar and Shakti Pot with special guest Dharma Sound Kirtan, and it will be Saturday, May 9th and Sunday, May 10th of this year from 9 to 6 p.m. each day. There are talks the week before that are listed on the Facebook page, and also will be listed on the different events calendars. So if anyone has any questions, my phone number is area code 360-732-7076. I'd love to talk to you, and I can answer any questions, or if you'd like to register. Also, my email is Dalton, DAULTON, Gonzalez, GONZALEZ, .elizabeth@gmail.com.
And what's that phone number again?
360-732-7076.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you for that announcement.
All right.
And yes, Santara.
Just to say, for the people who are also listening on their PC, and they have put up, the Kundalini Awakening Seminar Conversations with Chrism, there's a slideshow going on there, and you will see the information that Elizabeth just gave out. You will see her phone number come up, and you will see the information about the seminar. You will also find there's information on that slideshow about the CD that we offer of the sacred music that Chrism has. You can contact Eileen or you can contact myself. And again, the information is going to come up on the slideshow. So, that's it, Chrism, all my announcements.
Okay, all right. Well, everybody, so the topic today, the topic du jour is, of course, what it's like and what it is to be a student of Chrism's, and how a person may have been brought into that. And because I'm surrounded by such special guests, I, of course, am going to hand the mic over to, I believe it'll be Josephine this time, and we will bring it on over to Rosemary next. And Josephine, how and why, what could have possibly possessed you, besides some sort of a negative demonic entity, to become a student of Chrism?
I had an awakening back in 2013, and I had no clue what was going on. I went on the internet, being medical, tried to look for something, couldn't find anything. Eventually, I came upon the word Kundalini and started putting that on the internet, and research, and I came upon Chrism. From not knowing what was going on to have somebody to actually explain it and answer my questions was absolutely really, really helpful.
Thank you. And blessings to you for joining us here and for being able to share that part of your story. Now I'm going to hand it over to Her Holiness, Mother Superior of a really interesting sort of congregation of nuns in the Catholic Church about 17 to 20 years ago, Her Holiness Rosemary of Kundalini.
Thank you, Chrism. And the question is, what had me choose you for my teacher? I have shared before. I heard the word Kundalini once. This is the summer of 11, and I saw an article in the Edge magazine and that Chrism was being interviewed, and I went to the film. I went to the seminar, and I really, even at that point, didn't realize the impact of all of that. And I can't say specifically what it was, except that I recognized the wisdom, recognized the knowledge and the care of this teacher, and wanted to make some progress in this life, a Kundalini life, that was very, very new to me, not my background at all. And so I would call him.
Rosemary, sorry guys, I don't know what you're doing, but the noise is horrendous. It's like you're doing something there, so it's stopped now, whatever you were doing. Okay. Just need to let you know that. Okay.
Thank you. So the recognizing Chrism as a knowledgeable, caring person, and I just kept calling him with questions, and he was always helpful. And so that's how the connection was nurtured. And then somewhere along the line is the practice. Then he asked if I wanted to be a private student, and I said yes. Exactly, even then, about what that means, but I'm eternally grateful.
I have to admit something. That was me making that horrendous noise, not Rosemary.
I kind of thought it was.
As I'm sure some of you may have guessed. But Sugar Babe, our beautiful white cockatoo, is also in the background, adding his voice to this broadcast. Being a student of Chrism, how did this fit into your agenda, Santara?
Well, I had an awakening in 2007, and I spent 2 years without really knowing much about what was going on. I knew something incredible had happened to me, but with leaving those 2 years aside, in 2009, I Googled, and I realized that, a Kundalini awakening might be what was happening, and I got straight onto your group, the Yahoo group, and I began to read your teachings there. And my goodness, I will never forget it. The Kundalini, or the energy at the time within me that I, just responded, everything resonated, everything that I read resonated. And one of the things was, you were very explicit that the place, your teachings were from that place of love, and there was no fear. And that really resonated with me, because I had been in a place of no fear. And when I read your words, it's what resonated. I knew that I was listening to truth. I knew that what I was hearing was my own experience. And I mean, that of itself was incredible, because I thought I was really weird, or there was some, it was amazing that I wasn't the only person. And so after a very short time, I think it was in June 2009, I asked to join the forum, which was, I suppose, the discussion group, the chat room. So I moved away from just reading your teachings into the chat room, and that was when I came across an amazing community of people who had also gone through a process, or were going through the process of a Kundalini awakening, and people were at different stages. Some people were there quite a few years, others were arriving just like I was. Some people hadn't experienced an awakening but were looking for it, but I had. And the support and the caring and the the nurturing and just the affirmation for myself that I received on that group from other people was something that has always stayed with me. And it changed my life because it opened up for me an ability to, I suppose, be affirmed in where I was and to realize that what was happening to me was normal. But your teachings were incredible, Chrism. And that was in June 2009. And I remember when I arrived on the group, there was actually some discussion going on that month, or maybe it was in July, about, having a teacher. And I would always, all my life I've been a rebel, done my own thing. I mean, I could give you so many examples. Authority or people, it's just not my thing. I do my own thing. And so it was very interesting to observe all of this. And I think one of my first posts was about, I can hardly listen to, I'm resisting some of the things that I knew I was getting from my Kundalini. So I knew I had to surrender to that. I couldn't possibly get into surrendering to a teacher. And yet, as I stayed on the group and as I began to read more and more of your teachings, I knew in a very short time, I think it was around September or October, that the Kundalini was directing me very clearly that you were to be my teacher, because everything I read resonated, and I just knew that your teachings were my Kundalini's teachings for me. And so it was by the end of that year.
How were you able to get over the whole trust thing? The whole issue of taking instruction from a person that, say, you haven't met in person or things of that nature. How were you able to get over that?
Well, with a little bit of difficulty. And you see, I very much knew that you were to be my teacher. So my resistance was, I knew that was my ego. But because the resonance and the response of the Kundalini within me when I heard the truth, I couldn't deny that. And so I knew that I was to move towards trust, and so I took my first step. And each step...
What was that first step?
My first step was to request for you to be my teacher. That was the very first step. I mean, that took me a little while. And once I did that, the world didn't fall apart. And you began to teach me, to give me instruction very gently. And I have to say, from the very, very beginning, I knew that I had made the right decision. Now, there were times that I wanted, Chrism, you know this, and so do people who know me back through the years. There were times when I certainly, if I had followed my ego, when things got very challenging. Because the thing about a teacher is, that I found about a teacher is, I'm very good at processing myself and, self-evaluating and all of that. And I could self-evaluate myself and, out of something. But when you were my teacher, that wasn't so easy to do because you could call me up on it. And because I was really sincerely open and surrendered to listening to you, little by little the trust created a knowing that what you were saying to me about, my ego and my, the things that I needed to self-correct on were true. For sure, I responded sometimes with, what? And, incredible, defense of my position. But little by little, I began to realize and to be able to trust more and more, because nothing ever was wrong. Nothing was ever wrong. So trust began to be built. And then I met you in person. So that was the end of 2009. And then there was synchronicity, or whatever you want to call it. I had been listening to something about John of God in Brazil, and I had this sense that I'd really like to see him. And it was about a week later you announced on the Yahoo group that you were going to John of God in Brazil. Now, again, I had a response from my Kundalini, and I knew that it was an absolute, I knew I had to go to John of God. It was like an affirmation, and meet you there. So I did that, and that was my first time meeting you then in person. And we had Skyped before that. We had done quite a few Skype private student Skypes, but this was the first time I met you in person. And it proceeded from there.
What's been a challenging instruction that you've received from your teacher? Something that would, cause you to kind of, ask yourself, well, why the heck am I listening to this guy?
Well, Chrism, everybody that listens to the show already knows the things. I mean, even the program last week, really, I think you should ask other people. I mean, it began, you see, I'm down the road now. I mean, you didn't start on the first week and instruct me to do what you're doing now. So let me just say, students beware, it gets worse.
Give them an example of what was hard at the beginning.
Oh, at the beginning, oh my God, I have to go back a long way. Things like I've just been talking about, just the practice of the safeties. Just when I would be talking to you about my life, when we would have a session and you would ask me how are things going, an awful lot of my process was about my day-to-day living. I used to have dreams and things, but it was mostly about my day-to-day living. And within that context, you used to instruct me, and you'd hold up, you'd say something to me about tolerance, or you would give me instructions. I can't be specific now, around what my behaviors were, and I would practice those. And they would be very, very challenging, very, very challenging. I mean, even things like, see what it's like to not defend. What's your need to be right? Do you have to be right? And I go, yeah, if I'm right, of course, if I'm right, how can, and I get into that, and you'd say, okay, so you're right. What is your need to, defend that? And by exploring that and not actually responding to somebody with intolerance or judgment or anger, and by responding in a different way through the use of the safeties, I began to understand better what it was I needed to expand in my life, such as tolerance, immediate forgiveness when somebody would accuse me in the wrong of something. And what was very interesting, and what I used to observe, was that if you were working on something, if I was working on something, Kundalini used to bring that thing up and present it to me. It was like, oh my gosh, it's like when you tell me, go into the woods now, it's always stormy. It was a bit like that, things that would challenge me to be tolerant, or things that would be like a teaching or a classroom or a lesson in forgiveness would come hot and heavy for a while. And that's no accident. I mean, I learned very quickly that was no accident. That was the Kundalini and you together, enabling me to learn these lessons and to surrender to what it was that the Kundalini was doing with me. Because everything you've done with me, Chrism, all the teachings, all the challenges, all the resistances from me, all the surrender from me, that is exactly what my Kundalini is doing with me. Kundalini sometimes will come, and it's not always, I don't want to get sidetracked, but sometimes it's, some of it, it's about living the daily life. It's about living the daily life as in the best possible way that you can, through love and forgiveness and all those things. And so to actually do that on your own is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It was possible for me before on some levels. But in a Kundalini context, when everything does get amplified. And, it's not just, all the negative stuff, the actual things like this incredible love that that I can remember feeling, this overwhelming love for everything. Times when I just wanted to run away, withdraw from everybody, and go live in a mountain, abandon my family, abandon my husband. John, you never knew. But when I was in that place, my teacher, my terrible teacher, was able to help me to realize that I needed to live in the physical present, that, part of my awakening happened in the context of a family, happened in the context of my life, and that was where I needed to be. And so those kinds of things where I might have gone a little bit nuts with trying to manage, I didn't. And I put that down to having a teacher to help me through, the difficult stuff and the good stuff. Sometimes bliss, we talk about bliss and everybody is, striving for bliss. Bliss isn't all that easy to live with either, in some regards. So on so many levels, having a teacher I would not be as sane if I am sane, or where I am now if I didn't have you as my teacher, Chrism. Have I been waffling? Hello? Tell me you're still there. Hello?
I'm here. There was a...
Oh, okay. I suddenly thought my screen had gone blank, and I thought maybe I've been talking to the air.
There was a questioner, though. There was a questioner that wanted to ask a question, and I'll suggest they call back.
My screen went black. I apologize.
Are you on your iPad?
I have it now up again. I have my eyes closed, and my iPad went, okay.
Yeah.
So that was it, Chrism. I'm watching the iPad now.
Yeah, but I want you to put it on no refresh. Okay.
I have it. I'll fix it now as I'm talking. Yeah, so did that answer your question then?
Sort of. I want to apologize to the caller. I could have interrupted you, but I thought you might have seen the caller on there. So apologies to that caller. And if you'd like to call back, do please call back. And Josephine, what is it for you that's difficult? Say, just because we're talking to people that have never had a teacher of the Kundalini, or, I know you work with medical, and so you work with MDs, and you've had some really nice MDs, I'm sure, and some MDs who maybe weren't so nice. What is it about having a Kundalini teacher that, in your opinion, is difficult or is easy? Try to smooth the way a little bit for someone who might be just starting out on this path.
Hi there, everybody. I didn't find Chrism until, it was April 1st. Kundalini has a sense of humor. My activation came on April Fool's Day. Full blown, took over 4 hours of my life I didn't know what was going on. Of course, I went on the internet and tried to figure medically what in the heck happened to me. No, I didn't have a seizure. Yes, I felt fine. But what happened? And I didn't find him until August of that year. And of course, I had many questions. There were many emails going back and forth. Many answers that did answer what was going on. Finally had a Skype. I didn't know how to do that, believe it or not. That was a global experience. Anyway, many, many times I didn't see Chrism until the next year. So it took quite a while, and then finally, because everything gelled or made sense, and then he did, ask me, start doing the safeties. So I was reading the KS1 site. And because I was so interested in trying to figure out everything that was going on, I absolutely read every article and saw every video on that whole thing to try and understand the totality of what this all meant. And of course, I went on other sites, but they all seemed to be a little off. and then I would go back there, but I did read them all. I think one of the things about in the beginning, because I'm at the beginning of all of this, is doing the practice and continuing it. And it's better now, fitting the practice in with life, like working, family, working again, family, and then just existing. So Kundalini is there day in, day out, every part of your life, every minute. Leading a meeting, seeing a patient, walking down the street, everything. And it has to do with where you live, what you do, what you eat, everything. Okay.
Thank you, Josephine. Thank you very much. And you're absolutely right. It is with you 100% of the time. And that is one of the reasons why it's such a difficult thing to just go with on your own. This is how people become homeless, because, if you don't know what's going on and you don't know how to respond in a balanced fashion to what the Kundalini is giving to you, you can't hold a job. You can't have a relationship. You can't go forward in your life until you're able in some way to come to terms with what is happening. And this is what happened to me. I spent 12 years homeless just because there wasn't any other option. There were no teachers at the time, and there was nobody who was willing to do anything of that nature for me. And so I just had to live with it. And this is why I have spent the last, I think, 10 years now teaching people about the Kundalini and helping them with it. And it is a challenging coursework. And that's just the coursework. We're just talking the safeties. That's challenging in and of itself. But it's also a very, very challenging scenario because it is 24/7. It never turns off. It never goes away. And I know there are those of you listening right now who are having this happen. You may have the entities screaming at you or talking at you. You may be listening to the na'ad or the nada that is constantly in your head. You may be feeling the top of your head going out into infinity. You may be inside of a dark night of the soul where absolutely nothing is coming together for you. There is no information. There's nothing that you can do to ameliorate your situation. You may be in a very, very hard, difficult, depressed time of your life, and you don't need to be there, except that you do. The Kundalini brought you there because it had certain things that you needed to learn. But if you're listening to this broadcast right now, at whatever time you're listening to it, whether it's in the future or whether you're listening live right now, you don't have to stay there anymore. This broadcast is permission for you to move forward. And having a teacher is not the easiest thing in the world. I had teachers that were not necessarily Kundalini teachers. These were teachers that were teaching me Kundalini-like lessons, but they had no idea of the Kundalini, and to this day they still don't. But they were teaching me things about discipline and about service and about obedience and about all the things that the Kundalini requires of a student. And these are the levels of grace that are far beyond job. They're far beyond taking instruction from a college professor. These are the ancient teaching techniques where you are that student, but you are not just a student. You are also, a person who is within a very, very, very strict context, a person who is being constantly examined by the Kundalini, constantly being examined by the teacher, constantly being tested, constantly being directed, constantly being enthusiastic about what they're learning, and even in some way challenged severely by what it is they're being asked to do. It is not an easy school, and yet it is the ancient school, and the ancients did not mess around. Some of them used corporal punishment. Some of them, they would just, if they saw you wavering in your concentration or in the expedient demonstration of the instructions that they gave you, they'd just kick you out of the school. And for many people in the ancient times, if you weren't in that school, well, then you didn't have shelter, you didn't have food, you didn't have protection from the environment. In the Tibetan culture, they would take you from your mother's arms at the age of 9 and bring you into those schools in the high Himalayas, and that's where you spent the rest of your life. And if you chose, or if you were just so intransigent that you didn't want any part of that world, they would kick you out, and you were just kind of left on your own. And it is still the same today with the Kundalini, except the Kundalini just won't go away. If you choose to leave your teacher that the Kundalini has assigned you, the Kundalini's not going to go, oh, okay, well, I'll stop, giving you this phenomena, or giving you a dark night of the soul, or giving you, all the different scenarios that are being given to you. It won't stop. You'll just have to deal with them without having any information about them, or at least not information that you can have and hold in your current lifetime right now. This is what happened to me, and it's a very, 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 very long path. It's a long path, and if you have to take it, well, then God bless you. Take that path and fully immerse yourself in that path. But for those of you that don't mind partaking of the collective wisdom of a person that has maybe been there and done that, maybe you don't need to suffer from dehydration or a lack of electrolytic activity with it, or having supreme super anxiety and fear. Maybe that's not a way that you need to go. Maybe you can listen to a person saying, oh, well, make sure you have enough water. And, oh, maybe you want to get some electrolytes, in that water. And, oh, maybe you need to understand that Kundalini will hyper-express adrenaline to the bloodstream. And so, oh, maybe you need to know that this fear isn't as real as you might think it is. It's just an artifact of what the Kundalini is doing for you right now, and it's going to go away. Maybe you can take advantage of somebody who might have a little bit more experience with you than you do within this amazing dimension of Kundalini awakening upon a physical system. Remember, if you've listened to any of the other shows, you know what I am teaching. You know that in my understanding, in my experience with the Kundalini, you have one foot in the divine dimension and another foot in the physical dimension. And between the two, you get to figure out how to live a life. I think having a teacher is a very, very, very helpful thing to have, a very helpful person in your life. But it's not like a math teacher in 3rd grade. You might get some gold stars, but you'll actually see gold stars that nobody else can see. But the other thing is that you'll be given challenges. You'll be given challenges and tests and examinations that far exceed what anybody of a purely mental construct can experience. You'll be given tests, for instance, tests of watching the perimeter of your visual field fall away into darkness, literally watching the visual of your world collapsing around you, losing the stability of the visual comfort zone. Where you look at a tree, you see a tree. Well, all of a sudden you look at a tree, and it just starts to crumble into the earth, and there's this big black hole where that tree used to be, and oh, look at the ground, it's crumbling, and oh, all of a sudden you're in a place called the void. That's not so easy to deal with. Now, a few people can. Not everybody has had a teacher. I certainly didn't have a teacher, and except for the interesting thing for me is when I needed a teacher and I was asking for a teacher, there were no teachers in the States. But what the Kundalini would do is it would give me a mundane person that had the qualities of mundane living that I could extrapolate Kundalini teachings from. they would never know why I would stay and listen to their teachings, shall we call them. They would never know. They would just think I was just somebody who was easily taken advantage of. But in myself, I'm going, okay, all right. This is the teacher that I'm being given for this moment. Let's see what they have to teach, and when it's finished, I'll know it. Kundalini will tell me, and off I go. Now, you too can do that. You have that option if you have that level of discernment. Okay. Now, I'm going to pass the microphone on over to Her Holiness, Rosemary Goliath, and she's going to tell you why and how she was able to find trust in having Chrism as a teacher.
Thank you. A number of times, Chrism has mentioned my background of having been a sister in the Catholic Church for the first 25 years of my adult life, and I left there my early 40s, I think it was, and I put it behind me, and I didn't realize the grace it was to me until I began this journey. And I see that it was that foundation, although there wasn't as clear direction, and I was left more on my own than and didn't get the power of prayer or the power of the practice of the life. But I know it's given me ability to focus on those things, and also just to simplify my life that has gone continually in these 3 years. And the trust, I think people are trustworthy, and we just sense that. I think that just grew and grew because from the seminar, there wasn't much that was dramatic for me from that, except my intention and my desire. And I followed up on that, and then would do as I was told to do. And I don't remember specifics at that time, but in doing that, there were things that shifted inside me that I wasn't aware of, but just gradually deepening my prayer life, my commitment. And I did come here to the ashram. It was a year and some months later on my way to a family gathering it was here a few days. And that was powerful. And then that December would have been 13. There was an opportunity to come January, February, March, which I did. And was amazing to me to experience that. And Chrism's commitment to his students, and it includes all of us, but I experienced it myself, but in knowing and hearing, in reading on in the groups too, that commitment that he has was been very powerful. And the trust, it is trust. It is stepping into things you don't know for sure. And we're not readily tend to do that. But as I was willing and would fail a number of times, but as I continued, I was blessed. I had been blessed over and over again.
Yeah, the one thing I want to bring up is that both Rosemary and Josephine, these aren't little kids. Okay, these people they're adults. They've held responsible leadership positions in life. In some cases, life and death leadership positions in life, where they themselves have been responsible for the spiritual maturation of other people, or actual whether or not a person lives or dies is hanging upon the decisions they make. So these are not just people who are haphazard in how they think or how they live their life. They're very, very organized, and they're very, very constructive, and they're very, very knowledgeable and aware of how they live their life and what the choices that they make in life, and the fact that they have chosen me as a teacher, I find to be an extremely honorable and amazing quality. But the thing that I want to illustrate for everyone who is listening to this is it's not the flesh or the personality of the teacher that they're giving devotion to or they're taking instruction from. Not at all. It's the Kundalini coming through that flesh that they're taking instruction from. It's the radiance coming through that flesh that they are taking instruction from. This is what their Kundalini called for them to take instruction from. It isn't the ego characteristics of the personality of the person that houses one aspect of the Kundalini at all. It's all about the Kundalini itself. That Kundalini that's had over 26 years of expression in a flesh body, this is the person they are listening to. This is the person they are taking instruction from. This is the person that they have come to this ashram to visit. Not so much the ego-based human aspect of it. And it's very important for you to make that delineation. And let me tell you, it's very easy to make that delineation in my presence. They know when the Kundalini is coming through me, and they know when to listen, and they know when to just, ignore me when I'm, joking around. I like to joke around a lot. I tend to enjoy a lot of humor. And so, we're joking around, whatever, and that is not what, they're not learning, they're not going, oh, holy Kundalini, thou speakest upon me, and I am blessed. They're saying that when the Kundalini is actually in the room, so to speak. And she is always in the room here at the ashram, but sometimes I'm just joking around. And I just want you to know that it's not such a heavy experience here. When we travel together, and just yesterday, Rosemary, Josephine, and myself, we went to Sacramento, the California state capital, and we went to a place what they call Old Sacramento, which is the aspect of Sacramento that was built in the 1840s and the 1830s, and we went there just to enjoy. I was looking for gifts for other students that are overseas, and for a little kid that likes Spider-Man. And we're just out enjoying life. It isn't always like the nose is not always to the grindstone. Yes, it is to the grindstone quite a bit, but not always. People need to have fun too. Having fun, having laughter, having rest and relaxation, those are also part of Kundalini teachings. Okay, those are also a very, very strong and integral part of the process. This is how we're able to just relax and take some of the seriousness out of our the life that we live, or we're striving to live, within the environment of the home life. If there's a home life for people, or the work life, the many demands that we have made upon us by Kundalini and the mortal life, paying the rent, getting the kids ready for school, putting gas in the car, fixing the car. These types of things take our time, they take our energy, and they take our focus. But the Kundalini is always with you. It's always with you within these things, but it allows you break time. Okay? But not necessarily during sleep. When you go to sleep, well, you're back to work again. Some of you aren't allowed to remember your dreams unless they're Kundalini-sponsored dreams. And by Kundalini-sponsored, I mean Kundalini-directed. And, when you have that Kundalini-directed dream, well, you need to know the meaning of that dream. You need to know what's going on with it. Now, Josephine here, she has very, very, very beautiful poetic dreams. They're so Kundalini infused that they apply to the issues of other people that are totally unrelated to her Kundalini awakening equation. And this is the type of interpretive aspect that a teacher would help a person with. She gets them almost every night now. Am I right? every night she's having these types of dreams, and this is where it's quite useful to have a teacher who knows how to interpret Kundalini awakening dream symbology or symbols. So I don't want to turn this into an infomercial, for Chrism as a teacher. I just want you to understand that, it's a big step for people. It's a big step to trust, especially trusting someone who's been so mutilated on the internet. You have to, oh my gosh, and it's good. It's good. In many ways, I'm happy for that mutilation because it really separates the wheat from the chaff, the serious from the not serious, the people who are specifically being called to be a private student of Chrism, and in many ways it's very illuminating of an individual who are they fear based? Is their first fear response, is that what they're going to live their life from? And if so, that's going to be a very, very difficult Kundalini path to travel. If you're so controlled by your fear that if anything startles you or scares you, you run from it. Or do you explore it? Do you challenge it? Do you see why that is so scary? Do you see if it's even a real fear? And if it's not a real fear, why are you making decisions about your life that's not even based on something that's true? So, I'm happy with how Kundalini has arranged things with regards to bringing students into my life. It is true that I do dedicate a very large portion of my time. I mean, I could spend all day and all night talking with students. I have to space it out. I can't do it every day for everybody. I just can't. I don't have that much time in the day, but I would if I could. Definitely would if I could. If you have a question about what it's like to have a Kundalini awakened teacher, or any kind of a question about your Kundalini awakening experience, I want to invite you to pick up your phone and dial this number, 347-934-0026, 347-934-0026, and give us a call and join in the conversation. I do have some announcements to make. On August 28th, I will be in London speaking at a conference, and if you're interested in that conference, let me go over here real quick and get all the information about that here. Just a second, I need to access my other computer there, and this is the where are we at here? Come on. Let's see here. Here we go. And it's coming up. This is the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution, London. That's London, the United Kingdom, 2015. And it's a bank holiday, the August bank holiday weekend, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And so if you're able to come over there, I strongly recommend that you go ahead and book your ticket now. You can reach them at www.T as in Tom, C as in conference, and then another C as in conference, H as in happy, and E as in enlightened.org. So that's www.tcche.org, and go ahead and book your tickets now. I will be speaking at the same time that Greg Braden and other people are speaking, and it looks to be a really, really, really happy conference right now. So I'm really happy to make that announcement for you. The Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution, London 2015, August, bank holiday weekend, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And that would be www.tcche.org. Now, when you don't have a teacher, you can fall into certain levels of depression that you don't know, maybe specifically caused by your response to the Kundalini, or your, a mistaken response to the Kundalini. You may not understand that these entities that you're seeing around you, they're just not a figment of you going crazy. These are real spiritual consciousness that not everybody gets to see, but some of you do get to see. And when you see them, well, guess what? They get to see you now. They know when a person is conscious of their existence, because most people are not. Most people are not conscious of their existence, and so they can attach to them in any way they want. But when you're conscious of their existence, well, it becomes a much different ballgame. And in that scenario, it's very, very helpful to have a teacher who can help you, deal with these types of paranormal phenomena. It's important to be validated for not being crazy. Just that alone, that validation all by itself is a huge step for a person that is seeing phenomena that nobody else around them is seeing. It's very, very helpful to have this teacher in your daily existence, your daily life. And this is why, instead of just having this little, 2-bedroom house, 3-bedroom house here in Santa Rosa, it's called an ashram because people can come over here. They can come here and they can learn about their Kundalini awakening equation, and they can learn how to have it, hold it, and allow it to have them and hold them. And it's very important. And I'm going to bring Santara back on here. Here she is, Her Holiness. Get off that toilet. You can finish up what you need to finish, though. You're on the toilet.
Stop. That's an ongoing joke for all listeners who have joined us for the first time, especially the lady listening on the phone just now. This goes on every week.
That's an ongoing joke. It's an ongoing joke because when I press the red button here, and what they give you here on BlogTalk is they give you a microphone, and you can color it blue or red. Blue means you're off the air, and red means you're on the air. And when I press red, it takes a certain amount of time, and I've been joking with Amelia Santara about being on the toilet and running for the red microphone with music going on.
Well, I'm here. How can I? Yes.
What's it like?
Question for me?
What's it like here at the ashram? What's that like?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I've visited quite a few times now, and each time is very unique. Each time is different. I'm sure Rosemary will say the same, and Josephine as well. So, what's it like? It's, first of all, for me, the first thing is it's time for me. I live a very busy life with my family and working and doing all sorts of things. And so when I go to the ashram, it's time for me and for my Kundalini process in a space where I do not have to engage in other tasks, or I do not have to be functioning outside of myself in service for other people, which I do all the time at home. So that's the first thing. It's an amazing opportunity for me to be completely focused on my process and my Kundalini. And so but then the normal things go on. You get up in the morning, you do breakfast, we do various things. We do some traveling always when I go visit. And so there's a lot of mundane things happening because Chrism is still working. He's doing his teaching with his private students. He's answering. And so I'm doing a practice. And then the engagement, I might be just sitting quietly next to him or by his feet. What actually happens is that my process becomes very focused in the amount of time that I am there. And I'm not going to use the word accelerated. There's another word. It's like, I think focused is probably the word. And so the amount of learning that I do and the amount of experiences that I have are amazing. And sometimes it's when I go back home, it's amazing then as well what continues through what has been initiated at the ashram. And I wonder, I say, Joseph, do the ladies there find the same thing? That it's not just what happens at the ashram, it is continued when I come back home. It's like a sort of not a time capsule, but it's like the things that need attention, immediate attention, get seen to at the ashram, and then other things are put into this time capsule. And it's amazing when I'm back home how those things develop again and also proceed from there.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up the traveling. We do a lot of traveling, and we do it in these tiny little enclosed rectangles of sculpted fiberglass and metal sitting, just a few inches from each other, riding on these rubber wheels harvested from rubber grown in the South America. And this level of traveling, we're taking in the sights, the sounds, the experiences of distant places like Mount Shasta or the Grand Canyon or Sedona or places like Painted Rock, or we're taking in some very, very, very strong, energetic places. One of the programs where Julia was on, we were having very, very definite paranormal experiences with her, in the desert and outside of the desert, in the different places. And it's true what Amelia says. There is a definite processing time after you leave the ashram, and sometimes the processing takes place when the person's just driving back. I know that Josephine, she'll drive, how many was it, 7, 8 hours? She drives 7 or 8 hours, which is basically all day long, in a rented car to come up here and to participate with the ashram. And so, and Rosemary, she flies out here and she'll stay, 1 or 2 months. I think she's a secret snowbird, really, though. And I noticed we have a 651 area code listening, and I just want to say hello to you listening from Minnesota. So one of the folks in Minnesota listeners listening. And, it is a very, very special time. It is a very special time. What happens is when I'm helping other people on the internet, as I do, the Kundalini really kind of explodes away from me and out of me. And we've had some other things to do on this portion of the visit for Josephine and Rosemary right now. We did get to do some traveling yesterday, and I'm going to do some more work with them later on today. But, yeah. I remember the last time Josephine came over, she started working in the garden. Work. She's out there working in the morning, working in the noon, working in the afternoon, and she almost single-handedly made that front garden bloom like you've never seen it bloom before. It was so pretty. And I just want to say thank you once again, Josephine, for that hard work that you did. And, Rosemary, she spends a great deal of time here. And she's so kind and she's so considerate of other people. And she has such a strong grasp of the fundamentals of Kundalini psychology, Kundalini surrendership, these types of things that are very critical to the work as a Kundalini student. And so, I'm putting her in charge of other people when they come over to just kind of give them, the basics of what they need to do when she's here. And I really enjoy watching her leadership blossom. And when I was in Minnesota, perhaps this person listening from Minnesota also went to one of the film expositions that Rosemary does. And, she's very, very leadership oriented. She speaks very well in public. She's very well managed. She's not nervous. She's not stuttering. She's just very, very complete and together. And I want to thank you as well, Rosemary, for your great work that you do for the Kundalini Awakening in Minnesota, the Twin Cities. And it looks like we're going to be in a place that I love to call Mankato, but it's actually Mankato. And the owner of the ashram is leaving. Francine, Victoria, bye-bye. She's going to go visit her horse, her beautiful horse, Sansu. But anyway, we'll be represented in Mankato, Minnesota, in Okay. 14th and 15th of this month, March. So 14th and 15th of March in Mankato, Minnesota. Doesn't it sound like a superhero that Mankato is going to come and save the universe? But anyway, and this will be hosted by Steve and Julia. So you've heard Julia here on the radio program. I'd love to get Steve on the program here too. Steve is a man that's had a Kundalini awakening for many, many years, and he has really great experiences to relate to you. And maybe that's something we'll do. Is we'll get him on the program here. Anyway, it's really helpful. It's really helpful.
You're being really loud again with noises there.
Oh my God! I feel like I need to be a wax statue. Okay.
Well,
really,
whatever you're doing.
I was just moving my feet. So
I know, but you have to sit absolutely still. Yeah.
Oh,
well, I have to say, I'm looking forward to coming to the ashram soon. I'm going to be traveling my 14 hours by plane, and yes, I'm really looking forward. It's been 2 years since I've been there, so I am looking forward to some time. It'll be wonderful.
My heart goes out to you, my dear. 14 hours, I know exactly what that feels like.
I know.
So I just hope you spend a little more and maybe get an airplane with jets on it.
That's very good, 14 hours. Goodness me, I think you go about it a lot longer.
Get your favorite window seat or your aisle seat. Don't go for those middle seats. Those are pretty rough. Yeah. So I just wanted to say, because I've been having people come up to me lately. Well, what's involved in becoming a private student, and basically, that you have to trust the instruction that you're being given. You have to have diligence in following the instruction that you're being given, and with that diligence and with that trust, there will form a level of understanding that this is worth it, that this is something that is tangible, that this is something that you can count on. This is an energetic process that almost requires teaching. The long, hard path does not necessarily need to be for you. You may be able to go up the shorter, better path, where your body doesn't take so much of a beating, or your body doesn't ingest so many toxins before you finally get the clue that, maybe I should be paying attention to this Kundalini instead of trying to get rid of it. Maybe I should be embracing it. I keep telling my students that I don't take on students at all. I'm not teaching students. I'm teaching teachers. I'm teaching teachers, and I want these teachers to surpass their teacher. I want you all to go further and farther and better and faster than Chrism has ever dreamed of going. I want you to reach into that infinity that is called you and make contact with that divinity that is called you, and really begin to mold a life where you can have 1 foot in heaven and 1 foot in earth at the same time. And you can give the grace that comes from that merging into the populations around you. I was talking at we're talking. I was talking with Rosemary and Josephine today about. It was over breakfast. About some of the places that I've traveled and some of the social dynamics of the places that I've traveled, like Bosnia and Croatia. They're still fighting a war there. They're just not on TV. They're still, wow, who's making all that noise?
I just moved in my chair.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
After being completely still.
That's right. Welcome to my world. Okay. So yeah, they're reliving the war over and over and over again. It's not bad enough that they lived through it and they survived it, but in their psychology and in their interactions with each other, they have to continue to go at it and teach their kids to go at it, and teach their grandkids to go at it. So there's always a level of anxiety and strife in their lives. And you know what? You don't need to go there. You can learn the lessons that Kundalini gives you. You can learn it from a teacher. You can learn it from someone that the Kundalini assigns you as a teacher. Now, this is very important. You don't just cruise the web or look at how good looking that girl is or how pretty that guy is and, oh gosh, he just looks so Hindu and so Indian, and oh gosh, she just looks so pretty and so inviting. Oh, she's an ex-model. Oh, even better. You don't look for people like that to teach you the Kundalini. You don't rely on your genital response to a person to pick a Kundalini teacher out. You don't even get to pick your Kundalini teacher out. Your Kundalini does. Your Kundalini does. You may be given the fantasy of having a choice, and you may want to live that fantasy of having a choice, and you may want to choose from your genital expression about this teacher or that teacher, but it won't work for you. And if it does, then it's just that far for you to go. Your Kundalini picks it out. You can do all the research like Josephine did. You can page through, you can find the word that works, and you can put that in there, but your eyes and your heart and your attention will land on a certain level of information. And wherever that information has landed you, then that's what you want to pay attention to. Forget about their model looks. Forget about their cool little sparkly beads. Okay? It's not about that. It's not about you being attracted to them and, sexually or otherwise. It's about the information. And your Kundalini will let you know what level of information is the best for you at that time. And if that means that you go to the model person or the sparkly beaded person, that's cool too. That's cool, that's fine. Maybe that'll get you to start meditating. But if your Kundalini lands you on a teacher like me, well, then things are going to be quite different. It's not about, pretty little pictures hanging up on the wall of monkey gods or, somebody in a swimsuit, on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I mean, not saying they're not worthy of worship, but maybe they're not worthy of Kundalini teachings. Just my guess. It's just a guess here. Pay attention to what your Kundalini wants you to read. Pay attention to what your Kundalini is directing you towards. If it directs you towards Chrism, then make contact with him. I mean, he can actually talk through that long beard that he has. Sometimes he's got to brush it aside because the hair gets in his mouth, but it's a good floss opportunity for me, the way I see it.
Oh. Yeah.
Josephine's wrinkling her nose at me right now. Rosemary's just politely staring at her knees. It's interesting. Rosemary is sitting on my right. This was unplanned. She's sitting on my right. She has a bright blue jumper on. Beautiful blue sacred male. And Josephine is on my right, and she has a beautiful dark red sparkly sweater on. And they're just in the right position, wearing the right clothing, unannounced. It's just I find these things very interesting myself. I make these connections. But getting back to it, you listen, like Santara is telling you, she listened to her Kundalini. She listened to it, and it was speaking loud and clear. Now, some people are even getting dreams. Sometimes you will get a dream about the Kundalini teacher that your Kundalini wants you to make contact with. I have a few students right now who were brought to me that way. Pay attention to what the energy is directing you towards. Sometimes you need to hear it in English. Sometimes you need to hear it from another flesh person who's been there, done that. It can be very, very, very helpful. And I recommend that you partake of that help and that you partake of that essence that is flowing through that person who the Kundalini is giving to you as a teacher. Let the Kundalini assign you the teacher as best you can. Don't look at pretty pictures or long white beards. People just maybe they have a Gandalf thing going. A beard does not make it. So what do you think, Santara? Can you add anything to that?
Well, trust and diligence, yes. And I think, one of the things that when I became a student, when I asked if you would be my teacher, was I made a commitment to surrender to your personal instructions for me. And that was a very sincere and definite commitment. And
how bad has that been? It's been a few years now. Tell me, how challenging has that been? And let new people who may be even considering this, if I haven't totally scared them away already, tell them about that part.
About the commitment, or about and what?
The surrendering to personal instruction.
Okay. Yeah, well, another word, the surrendering to the personal instructions of my teacher is something that happened from the very, very beginning, something that was made very clear to me from my Kundalini, actually, as well as from my teacher, that was something I had to do. And part of my step towards asking you to become to be my teacher, if I could be your student, was knowing that I was making this commitment, and that's tied into trust. And so then when things became challenging, and again, I can't be very specific, the commitment that I made was also part of my diligence. So I didn't renege on that commitment because I knew, let's say, put it like this. Let's call it the easy time and the challenging time. During the easy time, when things are flowing in a very easy way, I knew that commitment to surrender to your personal instruction was absolutely sacred. I knew it's what my Kundalini wanted from me. And then when things became challenging, I was able to see that commitment hadn't changed. It wasn't to change, that I was to stick with that even though my ego would have turned and tried to talk me out of it. So that became almost like, for me anyway, it's the thing that became, what word can I use, like cemented in my relationship of, with you as my teacher and student, that complete commitment. So the hard times and the easy times, that was sacred. That didn't change. And that actually, I think that's something that students need to do. I certainly needed to do it. And again, as I say, it's because during the easy times, that is correct. I knew that was correct. I knew that's what my Kundalini was asking for me. I knew that my commitment to surrender to your instructions was as the Kundalini had assigned for it to be. And so why would that change just because things got challenging and difficult? What was the factor that was going to make that any different? The only thing that was going to make that any different was if I, chickened out of my commitment, if I withdrew from what I had said I was going to do. And so I didn't allow myself to do that because I knew it was the right thing.
And you have been an excellent student, Santara.
Well, no. Thank you, Chrism.
You've been an excellent student. Actually, anybody that sticks with this path, I mean, especially if they struggle with it at first and they just kind of like going, oh my God, geez Louise, can I do this? Do I even want to do this? Why am I doing this? The people that are struggling that way and they find within themselves the source of the force within them, the Kundalini, and the Kunalini informs them that, yes, you must do this. And, it ticks off the particular reasons that individual needs to do this, and they stay. They don't give in to the ego. That's a huge deal. That's a huge bonus for them. Go ahead.
Sorry. Because Kundalini, opportunities are going to be presented to do that. I was tested.
Tell them about some of your tests.
No. I can't remember, Chrism. I honestly can't. It's going back. Some of them were minor, some of them were more difficult. Nobody makes the decision well, I certainly didn't, and I'm not any different to anybody else, I would think. I'm fairly, I would assume my process is more or less similar to others in ways. When I made the commitment and I became a student of Chrism's, it didn't stay on a level, on a level path. There were ups and there were downs, and there are cycles. It's a little bit like that. What was it Julie posted recently about fragmentation, wasn't it? She posted something about She posted one of your teachings about.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, when that's going on, for example, and that would have come to me in different ways, and it comes in different cycles as well, and there's different degrees and different aspects to that. Take that as an example. There were things that come up where you just want to, where I would have just wanted to run. It wasn't that, I just wanted to just go. But that commitment and that surrender to the surrender that I had given, the commitment to being in surrender to my Kundalini and to you held me there. And sometimes you might have some teachings, Chrism, and you're going to ask me for an example, and I'm not going to be able to think of one. But sometimes you might have some teachings for me that would be quite challenging, and my first response might be, "No, what? No way," because it would turn my perspective around. You would be asking me, and I'd go, "No way, that can't. What?" But because my experience previously, the trust had been built, I wouldn't then have it. Well, I might have a little bit of a temper tantrum on occasions, but I wouldn't leave because I was coming up against, my ego was coming up against something that I thought was unacceptable. I would be able to stay with my commitment and see it through. And there would have been a couple of occasions which I where that commitment to my Kundalini, because it is to my Kundalini and to my teacher, that commitment was such a saving grace. I often think, had I left, had I withdrawn, had I, look what I'd have missed out, and I know my path would have been much longer. I know that I wouldn't be so okay now. I can see all the things I would have missed had I not stuck with that cemented commitment that I gave at a time when I was completely 100% knowing that that's what my Kundalini wanted me to do.
I understand completely. Which really is it's a nice segue into the idea of devotion. And devotion to the Kundalini. Devotion to the Kundalini is listening to the Kundalini, responding to the Kundalini when it gives you an instruction, responding to the teacher that the Kundalini has given to you when he or she gives you an instruction. And this is what the West finds the most difficulty with, because we're kind of raised from infancy on up to adulthood not to have a teacher of the quality and intensity that the Kundalini teacher will have naturally by virtue of his Kundalini. Devotion is one of those aspects where you will be asked and tasked to show incentive with regards to the recognition of your Kundalini, the recognition of the teacher within you. And in the East, this comes fairly natural to them because from infancy on up, they're raised that this is absolutely perfect to do. Touching the feet of a Kundalini teacher to access the points of radiance that emanate from the top of the foot. These are very real points that they don't even know about, but they know to do it. Whereas people in the West don't really know to do that, and they just see it as kind of like a diminishing of themselves. And in truth, it is an exaltation of themselves that goes beyond the ego assessment that society in the West teaches us. And so, for the people in the West, the Kundalini is going to push your buttons sometimes when it comes to levels of devotion, when it comes to levels of recognition of a grace far beyond of God, family, and country, because this is of God. It's not of family or country. It's just of the divine. And I was just asked recently, so how come you don't mention like God so much? How come you choose the word divine? And the reason why I choose the word divine is because I see divinity as a singular plurality. And just as there are so many one ways up the mountain, the Christians.
Chrism, you're really making a lot of noise again.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'm holding very still. I will hardly move my mouth.
No.
Just as the Christians. Just as the Christians have their one way of going up the mountain, it's the way of Christ. It's the way they've interpreted Christ to be, and they're following the very majestic in many areas majestic ways of Christianity. Well, so are the Buddhists following the majestic ways of Buddhism. That's their one way up the mountain, and the Hindu, they're following their majestic one way up the mountain. And what I mean by one way, well, to them, their religion is the one way. It is the only way. It is the one truthful way, and no other ways exist that are more truthful than that. So that's a very, very, very localized and very, very individual way of looking at it. Whereas I'm constantly encountering the divine, constantly. And when I feel the divine, I feel it as a multiplicity of essence, a multiplicity of consciousness. It is not one way. It is many ways to one destination, which in and of itself is a many-pointed destination. It's like saying, yeah, this way goes straight to the diamond, and yet once you get to the diamond, you realize that there's a million facets to that one diamond, and each facet has something different to teach you. This is why I use the word divinity or the divine instead of God or goddess. This is just an example of the teachings that the Kundalini brings to a person. And this is an example of the teachings that are being brought to you right now through the grace of the Kundalini number 1, through the grace of John and Amelia number 2, and through the grace of the Internet number 3. These are the free teachings that I've been giving in these Kundalini Awakening Conversations with Chrism since December 12th, 2012. Okay? I have been your teacher if you have been paying attention. I don't see Kundalini as a biological event. It is just, biology is just a part of it. And I know there's someone out there teaching the biology of Kundalini. And well, I got news for you. There's a lot more to it besides biology. There's a lot more to a human being having Kundalini than just the physical response. Okay. These are teachings that come from a Kundalini awakened person. I'm sending this program out as an invitation for those who wish to go further into, and I haven't done this before. This is the first time I've done this, I think, on this program. Is that right, Amelia?
Yeah, that's right, Chrism. If I think what you're going to say is what you're going to say.
I'm not sure what I'm going to say is what you think I'm going to say. I think that I don't think I brought this subject up before.
Well, yes, we have had a program about teachers, but were you going to invite your invitation you haven't done before, if that's what you're about to do?
Well, I'm going to invite those who are listening to this. I don't care how far in the future you hear this. This could be 2 years from March 4th, 2015. This could be 10 years from March 4th, 2015. I'm going to invite you to explore the opportunity of becoming a student of a Western Kundalini awakened teacher. And it would be nice to hear from Fashji about this. Is Fashji on the chat room there, Amelia?
Yes, he is. He is, Chrism.
It'd be nice to hear his take on this too. Hear a man's take on it. The take, a more of a testosterone-laden take on what it is to have a Kundalini awakened teacher. And who else is listening? Can you read them off to me?
Yes, we have Atlantis Seeker. We have BAV. I think that might be Julia, is it?
That's Her Holiness. Yeah, yes, indeed.
Yes, so Julia is there. Elizabeth Dalton.
I'd like
Gonzalez.
to invite Julia to call in as well, and Elizabeth and Fashji, and who else?
MJ Henderson.
MJ Henderson, hello, my dear.
And Leno or Gard. And we have a caller, 586. Would that be? Do you know the code?
Put them on, my dear, and hover.
Going on now. Oops, sorry. Thank you.
Well, Master C, Chrism.
A testosterone-laden response.
Well, I was sitting here and I was thinking to myself, well, I must have been probably the most difficult student possible because I felt like I knew it all, and I was absolutely certain I was. And I remember you telling me when I said, I think we're all done now, Chrism, and you said, walk with me a little while longer, Fashji. And I said, okay. I thought to myself, well, I'll humor him because he's done so much for me. And I think that was about 4 years ago. And I am so grateful to you for being so patient with me and allowing me to work myself through my ego. And it has been the most extraordinary event of my life to be your student, Chrism. It really has. And I'm getting choked up over here speaking about testosterone. But what's that, Amelia?
Go ahead, Fashji. Go ahead. I'm smiling here at you getting choked up with all the testosterone.
Yes. Well, I have to say it's been this tug of war. It's been this tug of war, that it returns every once in a while. Well, I guess I'm all done here, and it's a lifelong event, and I can say that now because I see it very clearly. We need to, if we are to reach the relatively ultimate goal, and I say that very loosely, of enlightenment. It goes even beyond that because the unfoldment continues onward. This is like an eternal learning experience, and I am just so happy to be here. I have met some of the most extraordinary people in life that I am so grateful to be around. There is, of course, Santara, there's Eileen, there's Rosemary, there's Elizabeth, there's I'm running out of names here because, I really, really, really honor all of you so very much. And I'm so grateful that you have been patient with me because I do have an ego, having been a professional singer, so it's sort of like a requisite for that type of thing as an entertainer. And I am retraining my ego slowly but surely. Yeah, that's right. I still recognize that it's there, and I cannot tell you how many times I have been in awe of the things that the Kunalini has been so gracious to bring to me. And devotion has really put me in the hot seat, if you will.
What has devotion brought to you, Sash?
Devotion?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that is brought is surrender, and one of the other things that is brought is a gentleness. I don't know how else to explain that as a man. It has brought sort of a gentleness. My wife has recognized it, and sort of a really an expanded love expression from a man. Men are not in the West really thought to have to be gentle, but this has brought a really gentle expression into my life, and I am very, very, very happy, and I'm honored to be in this place. And I don't want to take up everybody else's time who might want to call in and say how wonderful this whole experience has been. And I thank you for allowing me to just come online here and just thank you, and to thank all of the other members here in this group.
Well, I want to thank you for also calling in and reassuring, some of the men that, this is also open to men as well. And this is, men are 50% of the deal. Just as women are 50% of the deal. And so for you to come on, I think is really helpful for a lot of the guys out there. So thank you, Vashti. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Good night.
Bye, Vashti.
So the scenario is, I think there are some students out there that are right in the middle of a dark night soul or a fragmentation experience that can attest to my interest in preserving their sanity, in my interest in preserving their connection to their Kundalini, that can attest to these areas of devotion that allow them to keep their sanity and to keep their connection with Kundalini coming stronger and stronger and stronger without having to suffer a huge calamitous collapse of the supportive reality that they have in place that allows them to encourage and maintain a connection with their inner divinity as that inner divinity begins to help them to fall away from their old practices, their old belief systems, their old responses to stimulus that people think that they're so adept at. Well, the Kundalini changes that with a person, and so I really want to send out a hello, and I see you, and I know you, and I love you, and I always will. As you go through this transformation stage of a Kundalini fragmentation, and this will be another program that we'll do on the Kundalini fragmentation. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and when your reality begins to fall apart and another reality is nosing itself in upon your what you would call your normal reality, well, things take a very, very, very big shift into the strange and unusual, and it's difficult to move forward sometimes. Sometimes it's 1 foot forward, 3 steps back, and I want to honor all of those people who are listening to this that are having a Kundalini fragmentation at this time, and I will recommend that you read the article that I posted on the Yahoo group and on the Facebook Kundalini Awakening ! And Kundalini Awakening Systems 2. Both those articles are on there, and I think it's very it's crucial. And Eileen, I'm going to bring Eileen on for a second here.
And we have another caller. Oh, sorry, Chrism.
Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Chrism.
How you doing?
I'm fine. I just posted 2 short articles to enhance what you're saying. I'm posting them on as I try to do every week.
Was that article published in Wisdom magazine? Is that what the Kundalini fragmentation, was that posted there?
I would have to check on that. I know it was published, but I would have to check to see where.
See, Eileen, and I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Eileen, for a second. Eileen is like an archivist. She has in her service to, and it's a huge service to people on the internet and to people in the publishing world. Eileen is an archivist, and she archives the teachings that the Kundalini brings through Chrism. She archives almost everything. Am I right, Eileen?
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
And she has the perfect background for this. She has a master's from Purdue University in library and sciences, and so this. I'm sorry.
My master's is from the University of South Florida.
Oh, did you go to Purdue?
Library. I did go to Purdue. I have a bachelor's from Purdue and a master's from the University of South Florida.
I totally got you. My apologies. Okay. But the sum total is the same thing. I mean, you are perfectly set up by grace to be a master archivist, and I want to extend my thanks and my gratitude to you for all the work that you do. You, as much as anything else, you give people the opportunity to step into enlightenment by virtue of doing the archiving that you're doing. And so many thanks to you, dear Eileen.
You're welcome, Chris. I just want to say one thing. From the very beginning, my Kundalini brought you to me, or me to you, and I never questioned it. I mean, it's been difficult. Believe me, it's been very difficult. However, I knew from the very beginning, even though I didn't know what Kundalini was, I knew that I was to be with you. And Fashti said he was the most difficult student. I think I have him beat by a long shot.
Let's not compete that aspect.
No, I'm saying my Kundalini brought me to you and to your teachings, and that's what I was drawn to. I was drawn to your teachings, and I feel very comfortable with your teachings, and I may not be into the events or so many other things that other people have, but I do have an understanding of the knowledge that you bring to us. And I just love your writings, and I know Shakti gives you that skill to write, and it is so different than other people on the web. I have tried to read some of these other teachers. I don't understand what they're talking about. You write in a very, I say, a complex, simplistic manner. It sounds kind of strange, but people can understand what you write, and people can understand what you say. And that's, to me, what makes you a very good teacher. Because when you speak, you're not speaking above anybody. You are speaking to people and on a level that they can understand. And it doesn't matter whether you're a beginner or you're someone far along the path. There's meaning that is received. The energetics that come through is received where you are. And I just want to thank you for the writings. I just love your writings and your poetry, and they have so much meaning. And I am so honored to be able to find appropriate articles and things that you write to share with people that fit, say, an issue that's being discussed. It is such an honor, and I thank you, Chrism.
Well, and I the Kundalini in me hears your words, and your gratitude is noted, and it is welcome. It is welcomed. For these writings, because you bring up the writings, and the writings are very clearly not the personality of Chrism writing this material. It is very, 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 very multifaceted, and I would never have learned how to write this in school, ever.
Mm-hmm.
When you read the Kundalini fragmentation article, that is straight up from the Kundalini. It writes things like this. Let me see. It's just it writes things, and I'm trying to go over there right now to read an excerpt from it. We have a call.
I'm interrupting you. That we have Diva Sadvi on the line. It's her first time calling in, so I really would like her to come on board.
Come on board, my dear.
Okay. Hello, it's me, Sadvi.
Hello, Diva Sadvi. Wow, so many years, my dear.
I know, like 2012, actually.
Wow. Wow. Well, hello.
Hello. I just wanted to, thank you so much. Crying as I say this. You've been great. I'm probably your worst student because I've never declared that. You're my teacher, but you can definitely see you are.
Well, you are if you want to be, my dear. That is the truth. I know, because you've shared so much of your beautiful experiences with Osho and with other teachers in your life, and I just want to honor you for your grace and for the grace that has recently showed up in the form of a real estate agent. Gotta love that.
I know. That was something else. Yeah, I didn't expect that at all, but yes.
It takes the right kind of flower to attract the Kundalini bee, and let me tell you, you are that flower. You are that right flower, and just, I want to bless you for the presence and the grace that you give as you interact with people on the different communities that you belong to.
Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate that.
Well, I want to read you this quote, and this is for you,
okay.
Deb. Great is this gift, but only for those who choose to receive will they be able to stand amidst their own ruin to grasp it. Meaning that you just have to allow yourself to tear down the walls of of the life that you were living before the Kundalini came.
Yeah.
And I think you know this. I think you know this better than a lot of people, Deva.
Yes. It's like giving birth to yourself.
Yes.
Yes. I feel like I was pregnant and I was giving birth to myself, and I'm popping out.
Without
what a
the
labor.
Pain medication, right? No pain medication for Kunalini.
Yeah, no, none at all. Just go with the flow, go with the waves. Yeah.
I'm really,
it's
a blessing to have you come on the program like this, and just, wow, since 2012, you say?
Yeah, I had a spontaneous awakening activation in February 28th. And, things were leading up to it. But it's so funny because Kundalini, the word, was everywhere with Osho, but you don't really know it. I didn't know what happened to me, out of body and the whole white light thing. And then after it happened, I came on the internet and found you and read that your symptom list. And I go, oh my God, I have this, I have this, I had this, I had this, I had this. And that's how I connected with you. So it was soon after February I found you and just start reading you. And everything I read is very true. I mean, when your words are there, it feels truth to me, So I've been there and reading you, and you've been very helpful. And, I think it's that Osho thing because once you surrender to a master, you give it all. So that's been my thing, saying to you, you're my master, but here I am on the phone, so something's happening.
It's the Kundalini in you that is happening, my dear. It is the Kundalini. And that's what's been happening from the get-go, really. Once that comes up and you looked at that symptom list, that Kundalini is the true master. That is the master that is reaching through me into you and reaching through you into others. I mean, the Kundalini is the maestro force that's conducting the maestro.
Yeah. Well, the Kunalini made me do this, and I'm glad I did. Called you, and I'm just
thank
following
you, and I'm very happy too as well. Wow,
thank
it's
you.
been
Thank
great.
You so much.
And please continue your wonderful presence on all the different communities that you're on. It's really a blessing, Deva. Really a blessing, and I will do anything I can do to help you with your activation, your awakening, to help you in any way possible, my dear.
Thank you so much. I know you're actually very close. You're not that far away from me. So one day I'm getting in the car and just driving down there.
Okay.
You're
welcome.
Do it. Diva,
Thank
it's
you.
wonderful to hear your voice because
Thank you.
I've been reading and we've been communicating, and to hear your voice when the minute you said hello, my Kundalini went whoosh. It's beautiful to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You've been so wonderful. You're wonderful. You guys are
and
wonderful.
drive down to that ashram. Do it.
I will. Just get in the car and drive down. Okay. Like Thelma and Louise. Here I come.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll say goodbye for now then. Bye.
Thank you, Deva. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And I believe Eileen has a question.
Oh,
Hi,
no, I don't have, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I just wanted to tell you that you were right. The fragmentation article was published June of 2013 in Wisdom Magazine on the East Coast. I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you, my dear. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Eileen, you master archivist, you. Thank you. Oh, what's that? Elizabeth. Oh, Elizabeth. This was Elizabeth?
No, she was going to say something. Shirley did.
Rosemary was hoping to hear Elizabeth say something too, so maybe Elizabeth will call in but anyway, well, Santara, where are you there? Get off that toilet.
I'm here. Back to the bathroom. Oh.
Well, I think I'm just about everything that was said needed to be said, and I'm really grateful for you and John O'Connor for sponsoring this program. We have a caller. I bet you this is Elizabeth here.
It is Elizabeth. I put her on there. There she goes.
Yes, hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Rosemary.
It is I.
She wanted to hear your words.
Gosh. When I was sitting here listening to everyone else and talking about, being your student, and I felt like, I've been probably a couple of years your student, and I haven't been a student as long as other people. so I wasn't sure if I should call and, what I would have to add, except that, everyone is right when they say you're a hard teacher, because it just challenges basically everything. I mean, the ego is almost the least of, it's just everything. It's the surrender is so important, and the fact that you're willing to take all these people on and give your time and of yourself. And I also just want to immensely thank you, and I'm trying not to break down myself either, but I'm sure I haven't been the easiest either, but it's, you say, okay, you're going to do this, and you're like, what? Are you crazy? and then you go ahead and you surrender, and you find so many lessons and so many things. And I mean, so many things have opened up in my life that I just, I'm so still in such amazement of the Kundalini and all of the gifts and the things being given. And I just quickly, I met with a woman this morning for yoga and tea that signed up for the seminar. She's a newly awakened woman that lives right here in my town. I had no idea, of course, no idea, because we're not walking around with signs on our heads. But she said when she first saw the flyer, she was angry because she thought, oh, here's another teacher that's going to come into this town and awaken all these people and just leave. And so she went on the Yahoo sites, and she went on Facebook, and she followed the links on the poster, and she got involved, and she listened to all your videos on YouTube, and she instantly realized, he's not going to leave me. He's coming here. He will activate. I mean, she's activated, but, he will help, and he won't just leave. And she got all that from just watching your videos and connecting with you, and she was also, but she didn't even know, being led to you as a teacher. And then we got to sit together and talk about what it's like, and just no coincidence, but that today's show, as soon as I got home, is about that. And so I thought I would add that then, that could be my addition to again, we were sitting talking about how valuable of finding the right teacher and finding and having you come here, and how blessed we feel that you are coming, and that she's not alone, and that she has other people to connect to now, and that we that we might be able to form a community here because of this. And so it is just all so overwhelming, but at the same time so joyous, and thank you, and just thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. And I have two women that are sitting on either side of me that are also coming to that Washington seminar, Kundalini at the Castle, everybody. I'm being told I have 90 seconds left, so I just want to say thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for everyone. Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez, that would be Dalton Gonzalez dot Elizabeth, I believe. Is that right, Elizabeth?
Yes.
At gmail.com?
Yep.
For information at Kundalini at the Castle. I'd love to meet all of you listeners. And thank you, Amelia. Thank you, John O'Connor. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Josephine, for letting me put you on the spot. And I'll be happy to see and to listen to everyone next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.